Welcome to the Thought Brothers. We asked you last week if you believe. We all said we believe. Can you tell that we believe? Can you tell that we believe? All right, we got the banker. We got the agitator. It's prime time tonight. Who's taking the lead, fellas? Go ahead.
Man, look, let's get out here. Let's just get this thing started. Before it was prime time, I think he was Neon
Deion. Yeah.
And you know what? The neon lights are on, baby. I'm telling you, prime time is making it happen. The kids are believing. The fans are believing. Colorado won one game last year. What, they 3-0 this year? Good Lord, man. What's going on? Hey, look.
The stadium sold out. The stadium sold out.
Sold out for the season.
TV. What you gonna do? What you gonna do, man? Hey, look. Deion's got a word. It don't make a difference if you win by an inch or a mile.
That's right.
Win. Just win, baby. That's what Al Davis said. Just win. So
win in style.
Win in style, man. Win in style. Got a quarterback that's lighting it up. You know, the first game, he talked about his defense. Now his defense is playing better. He talked about his special teams. Now his special teams is playing better. The team is basically rising to the occasion when they need to rise to the occasion. That basically means, that sounds like they could be champions, because champions rise to the occasion. Come on, Mr. Spivey, what you got, man? Give me something on that.
Hey, the only thing I can say is, brother, the game that I saw last Saturday night that went off about 2:00 in the morning is undoubtedly the best game I have seen this year, college or professional. I don't know what to say about Deion Sanders. The only thing I will say is, I hope he does not go in the draft this year. He stays at Colorado for another year and continues to do what he's doing. You know, Deion says a lot of stuff and people don't believe him. You know, when he says something, usually he backs it up. And he said after the game with TCU, he said if the ball is in Shador's hands in the last 2 minutes of the game, it's a wrap. Now, that was a father saying that about his son. The other night, I think it was 1 minute, 30 seconds left in the game. They had the ball on the 2-yard line. Last 2 minutes of the game, it was in Shador's hands. Guess what? It was a wrap. So you better start believing Deion and not just, you know, discounting what he's saying as just being, he's blowing smoke. Because the man tells you he's going to do something, he does it.
If you look at the film, Bill, if you look at the film, the overhead film footage from behind the quarterback, this dude Shador is looking off receivers like Tom Brady.
He did that on when they needed the 2-point conversion at the end of the game to tie the game. What he did was he got the snap, rolled out to the right, was looking at the receiver in the end zone, and the flanker automatically put on brakes, looked back to the middle of the field, and hit the tight end wide open.
Yep.
And what did he say at the end of the game? Do you recall? He said it was a Brady moment. He said, and I'll probably get a text from Tom in the next 30 minutes.
Oh, he's special. He's special.
Yeah. Did you see the 60 Minutes interview?
Oh, yeah.
I was shocked. And I had to go do a little research after I saw that, because when I saw that my man Shador was driving a Maybach SUV, man, I was like, whoa.
Come on, man.
But I did some research, man, and it's amazing. I remember back in the day, and Carlos, you remember this too. If a college player received any sum of money, he had to be deemed a professional, and he couldn't play college sports anymore, collegiate sport, even in high school. If you played high school, I played baseball in high school. If you went out and you played semi-pro in the off season, you were ineligible to play baseball any longer. But when I saw the kid was driving a Maybach, I said, let me do some research. And I don't know if you're familiar with this NIL money. It's name, image, and looks.
Yeah.
And I went through, and it is really amazing. Shador is the number one person in the group. He's received $5.1 million. Archie Manning's son received 2.9. Caleb Williams, he's received 2.6. And it just goes on and on. Travis Hunter has gotten 3 million. So these players are getting paid. So really, they have no incentive to just jump out and get in the draft, right off the bat, because they're getting paid in college. That's what I got for you, Carlos.
Well, that changes the game, right? If they can get paid in college, maybe they stay longer in college now.
That's exactly right.
So that does change the game. And you know what? If they get a degree, that's something they can never lose. We talked about athletes going broke on previous shows, but if they can stay and get that education and still make a few dollars in the process, I'm for it. Like Caleb, what's that? The quarterback from USC, do some Wendy's commercials and all that good stuff.
Caleb Williams. Yeah, he got 2.9.
Wow, 2.9 million. Prince George's County's finest from what was that, Bowie, Maryland, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, for all those people across the country, that's the county next to Washington, D.C., to the east of it. And Bowie is a very affluent African-American city in that county. So, Caleb.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see.
More affluent now.
Because Deion stresses, it's going to be interesting to see what these players do in the upcoming draft. Because one of the things Deion stresses, and he talks about, he wants his players to be educated and be good fathers. Do not be deadbeats. But the most important thing he stresses all the time, he wants them to be able to manage their money after they go into the pros. And that would alleviate a lot of these young men from getting taken for a ride by these sports reps.
Who would have thought the voice of reason in college football and in football in period, the mentor of young men is now Deion Sanders. Who would have thought that? The night before the 49ers played the Chargers in the Super Bowl back in, was it 94? And Deion showed a gold chain, Jerry Curl, high top fade, talking about he was hanging out all night, something crazy, man. The voice of reason is now Coach Prime.
or the guy who did the ice bucket challenge on Tim McCarver at the World Series in the locker room.
How about that?
He's come a long way, man.
You know the old saying, youth and wisdom, you can never have them at the same time. Deion is 50 years old now, and he's become very wise. And he's learned from his mistakes, and he's trying to keep his players from repeating it.
Hey, how about this? The voice of reason again, Deion Sanders, man. What, Travis Hunter took a serious hit, right? From a guy from Colorado State, and Deion is defending the Colorado State player who is receiving several or multiple death threats. Who would have thought that, maybe the kids who's receiving the death threats, maybe his family or his coach would stand up for him. But no, it's the opposing coach whose player took the shot, who's standing up for sanity and thoughtfulness. It's Deion Sanders. Prime time, Neon, Coach Prime, whatever you want to call him. He is the voice of reason. He is the leader. He is I guess for network television, he is prime time.
For those of you who have been living under a rock, let's take a look at the hit, and then we can talk about it.
That's a blatant penalty.
Yeah, that just makes no sense.
Yeah, that's dumb football. I understand this is a rivalry and you're hyped up, but you're up. You're up by a touchdown. You guys are playing good football.
There are 2 fouls on the play by the defense. Both fouls will be enforced. Pass interference. Defense number 11. After the play, whistle foul, unnecessary roughness. Number 15 of the defense. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Let's take another look at both those penalties. The pass interference first there, and then the late hit by Henry Blackburn. And Hunter, who plays on both sides of the football, and yeah, Shador is letting Blackburn know about it. Yeah, look, got a little smoke for him after the play.
All right. What do you think, fellas?
That players kind of emulate their coaches, and they dictate how their players play. And one thing I do want to say is that Colorado State players, they play dirty. They play very dirty. There was a couple of plays in that game. The hit that the guy put on Travis Hunter was totally unnecessary. Travis Hunter was out of bounds. There was another player, Colorado State player, in front of Travis Hunter. This guy went around his own player and put a bone in Travis Hunter's ribs. And this morning, I heard on the news that his spleen has been damaged, his liver, and he's going to be out for the next 3 games. Keep in mind, the next 2 games is going to test Colorado. It's Oregon and it's Southern California, USC. And Travis Hunter is going to be out for both of those games. And so, it's not surprising to me that his coach is not speaking out, because his coach may condone that type of play. And Deion is the one speaking out for the kid. There was another play near the end of the game. I don't know if you saw it. He got 2 personal fouls, a guy by the name of Kamara. And near the end
they had
of
some
the
dumb
game,
penalties.
Huh?
They had some dumb penalties in that game.
Yeah, but the one that he did at the end of the game, he grabbed Deion Sanders around both arms.
Yes.
Him up, took him to the ground, and brought all of his 200 and some pound weight onto him, trying to crush him.
Yeah, trying to crush him.
And trying to crush him. So, I'll say this. Their players are very dirty players. And I'm not surprised at all that the coach is not speaking out, because the coach seems like he condones that type of play.
But, that's sad. I mean, I think, we have to look at, football programs, no matter what level they're on, whether they're Pop Warner, whether they're middle school, high school, college, and not just football, I mean, any sports program, any program that involves mentorship and leadership of young men. And, based on what I'm hearing, based on what occurred, Colorado State, I mean, you have to question the leadership of that coach and for his team to perform like that. Again, Deion Sanders is the model here, citizen here, who's trying to promote positivity in that community. He's trying to make sure that young man who didn't do the right thing still has an opportunity to live his life and not receive these death threats, which we hope none will take place or attempts on his life. And he's trying to calm the crowd, man. I mean, I think at some point we all have to take a look in the mirror, and I'm hoping that all these young men, first of all, will recover, be healthy. I'm hoping they get great educations. I hope they get paid. So many other people in different fields have gotten paid for so long, and I hope they, like I said, hope they prosper financially, athletically, and I hope things work out. And I think that this is going to be real interesting against Oregon, and then USC. So I said at the beginning of the season, Colorado would only lose 2 games based on what I was looking at, and that would be Oregon and USC.
But you know what?
Yeah.
Here we go. This might be the genius of Coach Prime, because as good as Travis Hunter, I mean, great as he is, Deion's got a roster. He gets in their head, next man up. Don't be surprised. Next man up. They play to their ability, because Deion doesn't lower standards. He raises the standards.
You're exactly right.
Meet
and
his
the thing that's going to hurt Colorado with Travis being out is they're going to be hurt on the offensive side of the ball and on the defensive side, because the kid goes both ways. I understand he plays roughly 136 snaps a game. That's a lot of playing. And Deion has restricted his practice to 2 days a week,
right,
because of how much he was playing, going both ways. So it's going to really hurt him. It's sad, because you will wonder, if they lose, you will wonder what would have happened if they had their star player there. But I'm telling you, again, I'll say, don't count Deion out.
No.
Deion was a
No.
20-point underdog in the TCU game.
Yeah. I think you guys have to take a look at this too. There have been several teams, college or professional, that have actually played better once a star has gone down. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think that, and that goes to show the champions really do rise to the occasion. So I believe, based on what we've heard about this transfer portal and the way he's developed and built this team, he's got some other studs that are sitting there on the bench just waiting for an opportunity. I'm not going to go as far as to say they are Tom Brady waiting for Drew Bledsoe to get hurt and they're never going to look back. I'm not going to go that far. But I am going to say, don't be surprised if they don't miss. They actually upgrade. I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
It sounds crazy, but his team is stacked.
Right.
I mean, yeah. So.
And in the coaches, he's got an all-star coaching staff.
He does.
It's some from the NFL.
He does.
How about
and
that?
One coach was a college coach last year, and he stepped down to come and be an assistant coach for Deion.
How about that?
Yeah.
Hey, did you ever think?
Born November 2nd, 1944 in Benham, Kentucky.
I was going to say, did you ever think that we'd be talking more about Deion Sanders as a head coach in Division I football than Nick Saban
Wow.
at Alabama?
Wow. Affleck, no.
Hey, man, nobody's giving out. People are writing Alabama off already.
I know.
What was it? They barely beat South Central Florida or something. Was it 17-10?
Man,
Something crazy like
and
that.
Then he pulled out his starting quarterback and put in the second string quarterback and the third string quarterback.
Wow.
Yeah, he's hurting. He's hurting right now.
Yeah,
Losing Bryce Young is really hurt him.
Yeah, and you got to look at it this way too. You probably haven't thought about this angle. How many recruits does Deion have that went to Jackson State and now at Colorado that might have went to Alabama? We didn't think about that, right? Wasn't Deion in the Southeast in Mississippi?
Yeah.
Pretty close to Alabama. You can drive from Mississippi to Alabama. Yeah. You can drive from Jackson, Mississippi to was it Tuscaloosa, Alabama? You can drive. It's that close. How many people did he take that would have probably went to Alabama? Is that affecting? Would Shedeur Sanders have gone to Alabama if his father wasn't coaching at Jackson State or Colorado?
Well, I understand he had offers.
Start thinking.
He had offers from a lot of the top 12 schools, but he went with his daddy to Jackson State. Yeah.
Yep. So now you're probably gonna see a shift in college football. We'll see what happens with these next two games, but you're looking at a shift, and let's see if this trend continues. So will we increase the number of black coaches at Division I football schools after seeing what Deion has done this year? Possibility. I'll tell you one thing. You say what you want, but before Doug Williams threw 4 touchdown passes in the second quarter versus the Denver Broncos on January 31st, 1988, and looked like he was a perfect quarterback and led his team to a 42-10 victory in the Super Bowl. Before that day, you can sit here and it's about 5 or 6 black quarterbacks in the history of the NFL. Should we go with what was the gentleman it was a black quarterback at Denver? I'll have to look up that name, but I know we have, what was it, Marlon Briscoe,
Marlon Briscoe.
Okay.
Marlon Briscoe.
We had James Harris. I think he played for the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
We had Joe Gilliam for the Steelers.
Yep.
Vince Evans for the Bears.
Vince Evans.
Doug Williams, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Who actually Warren Moon, Oilers, Randall Cunningham. Eagles. So we just named what? How many people?
7. Like 7.
Like 7. After Doug Williams threw those touchdowns in that Super Bowl, how many? That was 7 in the history of the NFL up until 19. And the history. We ain't talking about one season. We ain't talking about one team. The Ravens got 3 of them right now, one team. We talking about that was the history of the NFL black quarterbacks base. I think we can throw Fritz Pollard in there or something, 1920 or something, right?
Yeah.
But that's the history of the NFL up until 1988. After that performance, Black quarterbacks were drafted at a much higher rate. Okay, they were chosen at a much higher rate. So you have to now look at the effect. If Doug Williams can have that effect on the world's greatest stage, well, people say, well, damn, maybe a black quarterback, man, can lead his team to the Super Bowl and maybe win. They start getting selected. Now, if Deion Sanders can have this effect on college football and continue this success, maybe they'll turn around and say, hey, maybe a black man can win on Division I football on the biggest stage. And maybe you'll see more equal opportunity for black coaches. So something to think about from the Thought Brothers.
But, another thing you can think about, Carlos, is that one of the knocks that they put on Deion when he went from Jackson to Colorado was that the players from Jackson were not capable of playing in the top 5.
That's right.
And they were dogging him about bringing his son as the quarterback and his other son as the defensive back.
How about that?
And I think they have an understanding that black players from HBCUs can play in the top 12 and the Power 5. So you may see a lot of these college coaches now looking at HBCU schools to get their recruits. But it's interesting, and I think I mentioned it last week, Travis Hunter, when he went to Jackson, he was the #1 recruit in the country. Now the #1 recruit is a 15-year-old quarterback from Michigan. And
where's he at?
Was last Saturday night. He was sitting in the stands, and he was a guest of Deion's. So,
where's the kid going to school at?
So I'll leave it to your imagination that when Shedeur, if he stays there for 2 more years and leaves and goes to the NFL, the person that will be following him will be that 15-year-old that was at the game Saturday night.
Did they say what state is that 15-year-old from?
He's in Michigan.
Michigan.
He's in Michigan. Yeah.
Wow.
So
he's
already committed. He's already committed to Deion to come to Colorado.
That says a lot. Yeah. So I think the key to me would be, will Deion still be there by the time he gets to college? Because I think he said he ain't going to the NFL, but I think Deion's going to have a star-studded 2 or 3 years, and I think somebody's going to pay him $1 gazillion to go to the NFL, and Prime ain't going to pass the money.
Well, I was listening to one of the talk shows. They already got him going to Alabama next year.
Do an Aflac commercial.
They already got him
Except
going
Nick
to Alabama.
Saban's not going to be in it.
But I'm serious. I beg to differ with you, but we'll see. I do not think Deion will go to the NFL.
Okay.
I don't think he will. I think Deion loves having people around him who will listen and win. But when you got somebody that's got guaranteed $200 million, they don't need to listen to Deion. And if they don't play, they still get paid. Aaron Rodgers will still get $75 million, and he's done.
Wow, that's tough, man.
Let me shift something for you. Let's get out the college field for a minute.
All right.
Let's go into the studio. How is the first take experiment with Stephen A. and Shannon Sharp working? And part 2 of my question is, how is Undisputed, that train wreck over there on Fox with Michael Irvin, Keyshawn, and I guess I tilted my hand when I said train wreck. Richard, how's that going there, Mr. Spivey? What do you think?
Come on, Mr.
Well,
Spivey.
First of all, I think First Take with Shannon Sharp is going pretty good. I mean, Shannon Sharp is a good co-host, and I think he and Stephen A., they complement each other. Now, as for Undisputed, I'm going to be real blunt. It's trash. You have 3 guys, all with type A personalities, and all 3 of them want to show that they're smarter than the other. There is no courtesy, no consideration. I mean, Michael Irvin is going to talk over whoever's talking. And whenever they are talking like I'm talking right now, and I hesitate like I just did, somebody's going to jump in. Out of the 3 of them there, the only one that appears as though he has any intelligence and speaks intelligently is Richard Sherman. So, I will put them on the same level as Charles Barkley, Shaq, and Kenny the Jet Smith. In that trio, there's one intelligent person in the group, and that's Kenny the Jet Smith.
Kenny.
So I believe Undisputed is rooted enough that it's going to probably survive. But I guarantee you they have lost a lot of listeners and viewers, because it's a shit show, to be perfectly honest with you. I mean, everybody's talking at the same time. And I think, what is it, second take? There was a dispute with Richard Sherman and Keyshawn Johnson and Michael Irvin. They walked off the set or something. I mean, this is crazy.
They're not even entertaining. Shannon Sharp.
They're not.
Shannon Sharp is insightful and entertaining.
That's right.
First Take is not entertaining to me. And Michael Irvin, like you said, he feels like he has to talk over everyone and talk louder.
Yeah.
And this is what kills me. Have you had a chance there, Mr. Banker, to peep these shows?
I have not had a chance to actually peep the shows, but I have heard enough to notice too many chefs in the kitchen. And I know that some of the chefs may want to go back and take a class in English, literature, journalism, public speaking, all those different things, because for them to get paid, not everything is for everyone, and that's basically the situation. You got too many chefs in the kitchen, and not all the chefs are even competent to even be in the kitchen. So that's just my take on that.
All right. So since we're talking about trash, train wrecks, incompetence, what about Jason Whitlock? What's he doing?
God, why did you have to bring him up? I'm gonna tell you the way I view Jason Whitlock. This is my view of Jason Whitlock. If you remember back in high school, the fat boy that none of the girls wanted to be bothered with, and he was just fat, and he hated all the jocks because all the jocks had the girls. That's Jason Whitlock, and now he's got a platform where he can get back at all the jocks, and so he's just going after everybody. He was at Deion. He talked about Deion like a dog. Now he's threatening. He's trying to start something. Now he's trying to threaten that he knows why Shannon Sharp left Undisputed. And it was because of they apparently were going to fire him. And so that's why he left. And so that's my take on Jason Whitlock, the fat boy from high school that didn't get no girls, didn't get no love or attention. And now he's got a platform. And I'll leave it at this. If you remember, he was on Fox. Do I need to say more?
Hey, he sounds like a friend who's getting paid.
Ooh.
That's what it sounds like. But, hey, look, that's just not my thing. I'm not a regular viewer, but I'm just saying, sound like a friend getting paid. I love New Edition, but Ronnie DeVoe was somebody's nephew. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Okay.
Oh boy.
Hey, Ronnie DeVoe go see the show and be like, who is this dude?
Well, I got
hey,
something
look, man, I love
up.
doing this. Ronnie, you my man too, man. Hey, look, I just think Ronnie was a better rapper than singer. That's all. That's all. Ronnie
Okay.
I got something that I want to bring up that I read yesterday morning, and Carlos will probably like this.
What you got?
I read yesterday the fans in Kansas City apparently are up in arms, and they are real pissed off because Kansas City lost the first game, and they did not play up to Super Bowl par in the second game, and barely won the game against the team that they played over the weekend.
I'm sure myself, but they didn't score many points. I think it was about 17 points.
Yeah, they were playing against Trevor Lawrence. And,
Jacksonville.
Yeah, Jaguars.
So the fans are kind of upset, very upset. I'm not going to say kind of upset, because Eric Bieniemy is at Washington.
Oh, yeah.
And
35 points.
And Washington has won 2 games. But the thing that really is pissing them off was Washington was getting trashed at the beginning of the game on Sunday. Came back and won the game. And they are saying that you let Bieniemy leave here and go to Washington. And the way it read was a team who nobody watched. Now everybody's watching. And so it sounds like Washington was a recipient of a good team, a good coach.
Well, let's look at it this way. All right. First of all those Kansas City fans should be happy with their new offensive coordinator, the guy who came from the Bears. What's that guy's name?
The guy's name is Matt. You talking about the loser?
Matt Nagy. Yeah, they should be happy. They should be happy to have Matt Nagy because Eric Bieniemy he was the offensive coordinator, but he didn't call no plays. That was Andy Reid's offense. Isn't that what they said? That's Andy Reid's offense. Come on, man. Don't say the man didn't do anything. And now that he's gone somewhere else, and a team that couldn't throw a forward pass and complete it is now scoring 35 points a game. And Kansas City can't produce 3 touchdowns in a game. Okay, so they're good for about 2 touchdowns and a field goal now. So, and they got the best quarterback in the league, and that's all they can do. That's all. So I think the Kansas City fans, guess what? Y'all got a couple Super Bowl trophies. Just be mad. You might be mad for the next 10 years. That's all right. Look, enjoy your 2 Super Bowl trophies. Washington ain't won one since '91. So you know what? If you have to go through 10 or 15 years of not scoring points, you'll be all right because you got 2 Super Bowl trophies. Don't worry about it. It's all good. It ain't. EB is now in Washington, and you know what? I hope they win the Super Bowl. I hope they do. They score 35 points a game, all season. But now you're gonna have to probably face him because if this keeps up, a year or 2 from now, he'll be a head coach. And I'm sure he'll love to go back to Kansas City where they say he didn't call no plays or he didn't have an input and it was Andy Reid's offense. So now eat your words, Kansas City. And again, you'll be all right. You got 2 Super Bowl trophies and the best quarterback in the league. So I hope you score more than 17 points next week. Ooh.
so I guess what you're saying is this is not Rivera's offense. This is Bieniemy's offense.
That's right.
And Kansas City should still be winning. If it was if it was Andy Reid's offense.
That's right. Mm-hmm. He didn't.
But,
that's why
I'm gonna throw something else out.
What you got?
Who is the number 1 defense in the NFL right now?
I knew we were coming there. It always goes back to Jerry World. It always comes back to Jerry World.
I ain't gonna say no more. I'll just leave it at that.
Hey man.
They're already saying Michael Parsons.
Michael Parsons, that dude's a beast.
They already said he's going to be the player of the year. Already. After 2 games.
I think the key is the Cowboy Nation, okay? You got a beautiful stadium. I've been there. I've been on the stadium tour. It's a nice stadium, okay? You got a crazy owner who will do anything to try to win. I'm not sure why you haven't won more in the last 25 years. But anyway, he wants to win. And I'll just say, for Dallas fans, and Mrs. Spivey, you know this is true. You can't get happy with Dallas until they start winning playoff games. So do what you got to do. Do what you got to do.
Is this a person speaking from a team that hadn't even been to the playoffs?
Look, we know the reality.
We did get the playoffs now.
Hey, look, we know the reality of Washington and the Commanders. We know the reality. They ain't done nothing since '91. They ain't won 11 games in a season or more since '91. That's how bad it's been. Had 30 plus starting quarterbacks in 30 years. So anything they do, they sort of like Colorado right now. They win 3, they go 3-0. That's like winning the Super Bowl. They ain't even got to win no more. They go 3-0. We haven't done that since 05 or something crazy when Joe Gibbs was like 80 years old and he came back out of retirement. Look, I'm just saying, we know Washington's situation. Dallas, America's team, got the best stadium in the league or close to it. But, with the Raiders and was that Minnesota?
SoFi. Don't forget SoFi.
They close. But yeah, and SoFi. They close to it, man. But we got to see what they're gonna do in January and February, man, because that's what their issue is. But we'll see. But great defense.
Well, Carlos, I have to say, I'm a staunch Dallas fan. Been a Dallas fan for over 50 years.
I know.
But I sincerely hope, and I say this with all sincerity, I hope that Eric Bieniemy is a winner. I would love to see him take Washington to the Super Bowl, because then I want to sit back and see which of the 29 owners in the NFL decide to put their biases aside and hire him as a head coach.
You know
because if you know, we have 3 black head coaches. We had 3 black head coaches 12 months ago, 3 24 months ago, and I think 3 36 months ago. I was quite surprised.
320 years ago.
And I was quite surprised the other night. I did not realize that Pittsburgh's coach has been there 17 years.
Oh, yeah, long tenure.
Never had a losing season.
Mike Tomlin.
And if you go back, I think Pittsburgh has never had but 3 coaches.
Oh, yeah.
3 coaches since 1969.
Yeah. So I'm serious.
I really have had 3 coaches in 1 year before, if I'm not mistaken. So
yes.
I'm sincere when I say that. I wish him the best, and I hope he's successful, because I want to see which of the 29. It's 32 owners, so that means there's 29 teams. I want to see which of the 29 owners is going to have the balls to hire a black head coach, and that they want to win. And I don't think it'll ever happen in Dallas. But then again, like you said, Jerry Jones goes to any extent to win. So,
man, wait a minute. You don't think Jerry Jones is going to hire Primetime and Shador? Come on. To fill that stadium in Jerry World?
That might be the case. I can see that.
I don't think so. And that's what they're talking about on a lot of the podcasts now, that Deion is going to leave Colorado at the end of this year, and he's going to Dallas, and he's going to take his son with him. But I have to say, after everything that I've heard, which we talked about last week, Jerry Jones said if they want to do this and if they want to do that, they need to get it by their own team and hire their own coach. And then Jerry Jones with the stuff before, I just don't see it. I don't believe he'll do it. I don't think he'll put his biases aside. I think his biases are stronger than his dollar.
Let me ask you this too, because if you look at the history of our country, it's always been about a dominant ethnicity, I'll say, okay? And it's been about the dominant male ethnicity, if you think about that, right? Because I think somebody said to me, one of the reasons you see so many mixed couples of black men and white women is because they both felt like they've been sort of, as you could say, not represented appropriately, or they've been sort of kicked to the curb, or not given equal opportunities. And I know, as a little kid in the 70s, there's a big deal with women's rights, and was it the movie Norma Ray or something like that with Sally Field, and you got what's that Billie Jean King? I think it's the 50th anniversary of Billie Jean King beating was that Bobby Riggs and tennis.
Bobby Riggs.
So I think that if you look at this dominance, I think it's where you have a certain mindset that it's okay for some of these people of different ethnicities or different genders. It's okay if they want to work for me. It's okay if they want to even be my wife. It's okay if they want to live in my neighborhood, but they're never going to tell me what to do or how to do it. I'm always going to be in charge. And I think that mindset is a dangerous mindset, because whatever happened to the best man or the best woman or the best person having an opportunity to do the best job? Like you said, nobody wants to cheer for a team that's just terrible for 30 years. If you hire the right person, as opposed to trying to hire the person who looks the part, maybe you have a better opportunity of being a champion. So I think whether it's a man, woman, whatever the case may be, and I definitely like when Coco Gauff won the U.S. Open a couple weeks ago. I guess the chairman of the U.S. Open made a comment and said that we are one of the first organizations to have equal pay for men and women. Okay, so that's pretty powerful right there. And just so happened that the recipient from the woman's side was not only a woman, I mean, equal pay as a woman, but she was also Black. So I think we have to look at all these things. These things won't be a factor when they're no longer a factor. But as long as they're a factor, they're going to be something we all have to work at and try to fight for and just try to do the right thing, because it's two different systems out there. And, we got to do our best to try to make it one system. I don't even want to talk about, the Attorney General today, about two different systems. But as far as I'm concerned, I just need some new political superheroes. But that might be a different conversation for a different day.
Different conversation, different day. Now, look, we're running out of time, but I don't think I have to ask, but I don't want to assume, because my grandmother told me what happens when you assume. So, is Deion going to make it 4-0?
Well, I got on my sunglasses, and I believe.
I got on my sunglasses, and I believe.
Hey, look, I said he would lose to Oregon and USC at the beginning of the year. I mean, based on what I've seen the last 3 weeks, I can't go against him. I say Oregon. I say he's going to go 4-0. I think the question will then become, can he beat USC? So I don't want to leapfrog Oregon, but I can't bet against a man that seems to be making miracles. He's even touching players that are injured and making them healthy. I mean, he's got like the Midas touch right now. So I
like that evangelist Peter Popoff.
You got it, brother.
Got that miracle water.
Got it going, man. Hey, that's it. That's how we do it.
I agree with you, Carlos. I've seen it too many times, and I saw it a lot this past season with basketball. I remember when Jay Morant got suspended.
Yeah, they
played very well without him, and I saw it in a couple of instances. So I really, I think Colorado's going to be hurt without Travis, but no one person is a team, and I really think Deion is going to have these boys they're going to step it up just to step it up for him, to show him how much they miss him. So I think it's going to be a good game. But I will say one thing: Deion has did the same thing for college football that Tiger Woods did for golf. He's increased the viewing exponentially. I mean, it's just crazy, because I'm a person that I did not watch college football. I mean, I'm a professional football. I will watch every game. I run the red zone on Sunday. But now my YouTube TV in the library is Colorado, and it's going to take every Colorado game.
Yeah, it's must-see TV.
Yeah.
And what he's done for the economy, the local economy up there.
Sure.
Oh, my goodness. So we mentioned already the stadium sold out for the first time. So we believe.
Well, I was going to say, this sounds crazy, because I've been to 48 of the 50 states here in the country, and I've been to Colorado, and there aren't many Black people in Colorado. I can tell you that right now. Okay.
I know. I've been there. I know.
There's always a few. Like you're gonna find the most. You're gonna find the most in Denver, right? Because it's a major city.
Yeah.
60 Minutes pointed that out on Sunday.
And once you leave Denver, I think they said it's like 1% Black or something crazy. Like that's probably about right. About every 100 people, you might see a brother. Oh, it's a brother, it's a sister. Okay. So what I'm saying, who would have thought a year ago, had the most popular man in a state that's, I guess, 90% overall and 99% in Boulder white. The most popular person is a Black man. Incredible. It goes to show, baby. Tiger Woods said it best. Hey, winning takes care of everything. It solves racism. It solves finances. It solves marriages. You got people who can get divorced. They ain't getting divorced now. They staying married because they got to see Deion and go to the game together. Winning takes care of everything. That's from Tiger Woods, baby.
We got to stay together, baby. We can't split our seats.
Let's stay together.
Well, it's really funny, man. It's funny you talked about that, because I was reading yesterday morning. I was having breakfast. This thing, I got this thing on my phone called Newsbreak. It popped up, and the female basketball coach at Jackson State who has won 2 SWAC
she's pissed.
basketball championships. She was inflamed at the 60 Minutes segment on Sunday. And what bothered her more than anything else was that they talked about Jackson, Mississippi, and made it seem like it was the slums and it was the ghetto. And that's what Deion left to come to Colorado. And she said they showed a house in Jacksonville. She said she believes the house was abandoned and that there are other areas of Jacksonville that they could have shown. And she said they showed stores in Jacksonville that was run down, but in Boulder, Colorado, they showed a kite store in downtown Boulder.
Yeah, I know.
And so she took exception to the way that Jackson, Mississippi was portrayed in the 60 Minutes episode. And, I never thought about that because I've been to Jackson, Mississippi, and it is not slums. I mean, they had some rough times with the water and things, but Deion helped in that. And so she had reason to be upset with the way that they portrayed. But I agree with you, Carlos. I mean, in Jackson, in Colorado right now, they got Prime Burgers. If you look at the commercials, there's a commercial and they talk about the Prime Education Department, the Prime Tech Department, everything is Prime. And then at the end of the commercial, the chancellor for Jackson State comes on and he says, and we got a prime location in Boulder. So Prime is taking over that place.
And you know what? It's going back to that basketball coach at Jackson State. I want to say this, based on what I've seen, every city, every state, every county, whatever you want, they all have their very nice areas, and they all have areas that you would probably not want to go to or visit unless you're from there. Okay. And I think that, just on a comparison, I think Chris Rock said it, something to the effect that, Mississippi is, I believe it is the lowest income state in America. Okay. So I'm not going to say that word that begins with P, but I'm going to say it's the lowest income state in America collectively. So I understand that, but I do understand also, so from Deion's perspective, where he's at now, Colorado versus Jackson, Mississippi, I do think the best of Jackson, Mississippi probably doesn't even compare with the best of Boulder, Colorado, as far as real estate and things of that nature, okay? But I will say, to the basketball coach's defense, one thing I've noticed about this country my whole life, because I've been in journalism from when I was in middle school, high school, college, pre-journalism major, even though I ended up being a banker. But the media really paints a terrible picture of Black communities, okay? And, I couldn't believe it when I left Washington, D.C., because I never really went anywhere, just being a poor kid growing up, never went anywhere. And when I left Washington, D.C., just to travel even to Baltimore, Philadelphia, I couldn't believe that I saw a white bum on the street, a white homeless person, a white person who I thought, and I think my first reaction as a young man was like, oh, I didn't know this happened to white people. I thought it only happened to Black people. That was based on the description of things I had seen in the media. So I think the media paints a terrible picture of Black communities. And so I understand why that basketball coach was upset. And, I think the key is we just got to get more of our people in our community involved and try to make it a better place. I mean, that's easier said than done. But, I think Deion's effect, it helped Jackson. It helped Jackson. Jackson has things they never would have had if Deion hadn't come. And I think he set those deals up. They weren't a 1-year deal or a 2-year deal. Those companies are obligated at least for a few more years in Jackson. So Jackson State's still going to reap the benefits of that. And now he's up in Colorado where they really didn't need the money because they had the money. But now they have something else going on where they're going to elevate, because of that football program, they're going to elevate that school to one of the top institutions in the country through academics, because now you can get more people apply, and more talented students apply to schools that have great athletic programs. I know not everybody goes to Harvard, Yale, Princeton, MIT. Okay, they just don't. Stanford and Duke, you can probably throw them in there as well. Brown University, all those places, right? But they're saying that when teams win a championship or they have a great athletic program, it seems to boost the number of applicants that would have went to the schools I just mentioned. And, you know, maybe I'm not going to Duke or Harvard. I want to get that college experience at Colorado now. So that's going to change the whole atmosphere of that university. I mean, I met a young lady when I was about to go off to college, and she told me she wanted to be a doctor. So first thing I said is, well, where you going, Johns Hopkins? She said, no, I'm going to Penn State. I said, Penn State? I said, last I checked, it's a fine school, but it's a football school. She said, yeah, well, the high school I went to had the greatest football program ever. So, you know, I can't go to a school that doesn't have a great football program. So I'm like, okay, there's a 4.0 student that's going to Penn State as opposed to Johns Hopkins, a world-renowned medical institution. And you're going to start to see that Deion prime effect in Colorado. They're probably going to, their overall testing and results for that school are going to probably start to skyrocket. And watch the applications come in. It's going to be a line waiting to get into Colorado next year. So the prime effect is real. Do you hear me? It's real. First Take can talk about it. Stephen A can talk about it. Everybody can talk about it. But the bottom line is, you just got to believe, baby, because the proof's in the pudding. Bam! That's it.
Carlos, you got the last word. That's the way to take us out.
That's it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are the Thought Brothers. You see from our shades that we believe. And until next week, we'll see you when it's prime time.
Have a good week, everybody.
Good week. All right.